What do we fear most? The only thing standing solid between ourselves and our mission, followed by the state of bliss and happiness we seek for, is fear. This is the rock we cannot overcome, ultimately showing itself in fear of death and the unknown that follows. Fear drives us, attracts us, and kills us in the end, and if we burden ourselves with panic, ready to run away, we might find that there is nowhere to run to, and no such thing in this life we aren't brave enough to face. To recognize shadows in one's natal chart, we will observe their 8th house and everything that hides inside it, alongside with every aspect its ruler makes. On a larger scale, we will see that every sun sign has its own 8th house to commit to, and this nature carries its set of challenges our way too. Read on to discover what you need to face, to create a foundation for the future you wish for. Aries, the 8th house. The sign of Aries needs to deal with is carrying the other side of Mars, the instinctive, emotional Scorpio. Since this is the sign of death itself, we can see the clarity in the challenge of every heroic Aries, to face the point in which all things end, including their life. This can lead to numerous smaller fears, panic attacks when they think about diseases, cancer, mass destructions, and grotesque ideas of nuclear wars and weaponry. Strangely enough, we will often see that Aries representatives are soldiers, engaging in battles on all levels of existence, as if they were the only one ready to face the challenge of this deep instinctive need to preserve life at any cost. Taurus, the sign of Taurus brings Mars to detriment, and this can make its representatives quite static out of fear for their material circumstances, in search for security when it comes to food on their table. Still, their greatest fear comes from the 8th house in Sagittarius, a place of the afterlife and the future beyond change. You will see that a Taurus doesn't really fear change as much as they fear what comes after it, and the uncertainty, lack of vision, or their own beliefs could limit them in achieving their goals. In a way, Taurus is protected by fear itself, and their practical nature teaches them that their personal boundaries depend on their ability to listen to senses that warn them of danger. Still, they must clear their vision and see that optimism and faith are the only things that take them where they want to go. Gemini, in the 8th house of each Gemini hides that scary sign of Capricorn. Since it carries panic itself, we can see that these individuals have many things to work on, usually all revolving around responsibility they need to take for their own life. Interestingly, the carefree and light nature of Gemini, their smile and their human touch, easily fool us and distract us from any idea of fear in their approach. There seems to be a rock-solid foundation they have a hard time breaking through, as if they were scared of all structure, limitations, and ties that could hold them down. Unfortunately, with structure comes grounding, and they will see that only sinking into the routine of Capricorn takes them towards the freedom they need. Cancer, the sign of Cancer has several things to overcome when it comes to matters of fear. Their sign's ruler falls in Scorpio, but Scorpio is a sign they love through their 5th house, making them self-destructive in a way, out of need to jump over the state of fear that generations preceding them left as inheritance. Still, their true limitation comes from their fear of too much freedom, anarchy and chaos seen through the sign of Aquarius, and you will see that they easily turn to control freaks if this inner state prevails. Many Cancer representatives will hold on to their marriage, or the family image they fight to create, out of fear to break loose, get a divorce, or shake their emotional world too much. In a way, they fear stress and change in its constant form, feeling like it threatens their state of peace. Leo, when it comes to fear, Leo has the biggest challenge of all zodiac signs, for their mission in life is absolute bravery and confidence. Their 8th house can be filled with all sorts of shady, foggy things, since it is set in the mysterious sign of Pisces, and it is safe to say that what they fear most are delusions, dishonesty, and disappointment. This is the explanation to their need for clarity and simplicity in the approach of those around them, for their awareness of the world seeks openness and honesty so they can feel safe. With Neptune fallen in their sign, they have an incredible task to see its beauty and magic, denying their physiology of all medication, alcohol, drugs, or any substances that change their perception. Only in absolute health and clarity will they discover the incredible fairy tale that surrounds them in nature and life itself. Virgo, it is a task of every Virgo to find the initiative needed to begin something new in life, and face inner anger that is weighing them down. Their fear speaks through the sign of Aries, giving them chills every time when conflict is needed, or their existential uncertainty kicks in. On their path towards fulfillment in the material world and the peace they seek for their soul, they must face their instincts, their sexuality, and all those things they see as aggressive and rough in the real world. Rationality might help their case, keeping them aware of their goals, but it won't really do much for all they need to learn about irrational, unconscious, and circumstantial their mind doesn't have the power to understand. Libra, it might seem strange to see the sign of Taurus in Libra's 8th house, but it is kind of logical when you think about it. Libra is a sign of balance, fineness, and the perfect structure, always worried about the way the rest of the world perceives their actions. Now imagine a Taurus with their belly showing, a large piece of cake in their mouth, and sweatpants that have nasty words written all over them but worn simply because they are comfortable. It is a task of Libra to embrace the other side of beauty, let go of their fear of intimacy, earthly ties, and indulging in their sinful satisfactions without feeling guilty. They have to accept grounding, falling into reality, and it wouldn't be such a tough task if they weren't so high on their perfect plans and high expectations they need to meet to be satisfied. Scorpio, when you think of Scorpio, you might think that there is nothing this sign fears. Since it is a place of fear itself, it is a paradox to see them scared and truly dismissive of anything scary and ordinarily frowned upon. However, they do have an 8th house to attend to, and it is in no way ordinary, for their fear comes down to matters of Gemini. It is the fear of superficiality, stupidity, and too many meaningless words spoken, and they will literally live scared of saying what's on their mind and expressing their true nature if they aren't entirely proud of who they are. The greatest fear of instinctive, deeply emotional and unimaginably intelligent Scorpio seems to be their own human nature, faulty, rational, and often perfectly ordinary in its daily, carefree expression. Sagittarius, when it comes to matters of fear, the sign of Sagittarius is the one standing in its own way, for they fear the sign that should exalt them and make them find their true direction. Cancer hides in the depths of their 8th house, and with it fear of family ties, intimacy, and love in its easygoing, steady flow. The truth of the matter is that this is the fear of emotions and those who gave them their roots, in its final vision, seen as the fear of resting in one place after they die. Without change, they feel like their hearts will stop, but change hides in emotional awareness, acceptance, and forgiveness, and no amount of running will ever bring them home if they don't commit to some serious soul-searching. Capricorn. The greatest fear of each Capricorn is to be dominated and burnt by ego, for the pressure they feel every day gets too hard to handle if someone else is there to rule their lives. Their fear is colored with the fixed sign of Leo, and it is not easy to approach, change, or make a difference to it, as they seem to fear their own personality haunting them. This will manifest as stubbornness to not want to be fully aware of things in life, and they seem to be afraid of their confidence and bravery, as if they feared their own inner self and what it might do and choose if they set it free. Every public appearance will have to be practiced senselessly, and they will have trouble performing and sharing their image with the world. It is imperative for them to embrace their willpower and dominance, to truly shine in this lifetime and reach the heights they were made to reach. Aquarius, special in all things in life. Every Aquarius fears the sign of Virgo, details, reality, and halflings that might enter their lives. In a way, they fear their own intelligence and depth, and with its sickness and problems their physiology might show. All medical professionals and those who can be the bearers of bad news when it comes to health will be frowned upon. Their main problem hides in rationality combined with a practical approach, for their dreamy exaltation of Neptune makes them desire more and feel more, inspired by more than reality would permit. As they embrace the factual, their perception will change, and they will become aware of the effort needed to bring the heaven from their mind into the real world surrounding them. Pisces. The greatest fear of every Pisces representative hides in the sign of Libra, and while they might adore the idea of a perfect love, togetherness is a real issue in their world. You will see them often described as shy and closed for relationships with other people, and the reason for this is mostly hidden in the fact that they fear others, sharing, marriage, and all official bones along with responsibility and expectations they bring. Their boundaries are often hazy and they don't understand where they end and the other person begins, and this doesn't exactly bring comfort into their lives. Every Pisces is somewhat an introvert, even if they shine bright in the world surrounding them, creating many social contacts as they move through life. Still, the idea of love seems to be this ideal that is best left out of reach, as if their basic fear is in structure and the mirror that the other person presents in their life. Latest from our blog Matters of Business. Matters of Business. When we wish to determine the state of one's professional world in the natal chart, we need to see behind the material world and into the talents. The new moon in Capricorn. The new moon in Capricorn. The new moon in Capricorn will affect us all, taking us to karmic stories, old unfinished relationships, and issues buried deep in our past. Debts of Mercury. Debts of Mercury. The moment when Mercury turned retrograde on the last degree of Sagittarius evoked teachings of the highest order, and we were to listen to its message.